Namaste. Welcome to YouTube Live. I'm just getting set up and we're going to start in about 15 seconds, literally. So give me 1 second here. And thank you for being here. I am Bansuri Bliss Founder Dr. Kerry Kriger, preparing to teach you how to play Vachaspati. We're going to learn 4 important scales and we are ready to go. So thanks again for being here. If you have a comment at any point or a question about the Bansuri, the bamboo flute from northern India, then definitely go ahead and chat that in, and I will be checking the comment box every now and then. All right, here we go. So I'm playing Vachaspati. Let me just play for a minute, you'll hear it, and then I'll explain what I'm doing. All right, so I was on YouTube Live yesterday teaching the scale of Vachaspati, very thorough demonstration of the scale. I encourage you to go watch that, but I'll still go through this real fast for you right now. But later on, you definitely want to go watch my other Vachaspati video, Vachaspati, a raga from India. It's in both South and North Indian classical music. The scale, we're always starting from 3 holes down, pretty much. Almost always going to start from 3 holes down. I'm on an F. I've got my tambura tuned F plus 12 cents. So Sa is at F, but on your flute, it doesn't have to be an F. It can be whatever. You just put your tambura to whatever note comes out when you play Sa, which is 3 holes close. So we've got Sa, Shud Re, Shud Ga, Tivrama, Pa, Da, Komal Ni, and high Sa, and then the reverse to go down. Sa, Ni, Da, Pa, Tivrama, Ga, Re, Sa. So we have a Tivrama and a Komal Ni. It's a first, second, third, sharp fourth, a fifth, a sixth, a flat seventh, and then back to the tonic, the high Sa. So if you're out there watching right now on YouTube Live, go ahead, chat in, tell me where in the world you are. And what I'm going to do is teach 4 very important scale exercises. These can be played in Vachaspati, but they can be played in any 7-note scale. There's 72 melakartas, as they're called in South Indian classical music. Those are scales that use Sa, Re, Ga, Ma, Pa, Da, Ni, and Sa. Okay, so all the notes are there, but in the 72 different scales, you vary whether the certain notes are sharp or flat or natural. Okay, so you can pick what I'm going to teach you, learn Vachaspati, but then play it in other scales as well. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. and I'm going to show you the written music. All right, here we go. So we've got 4 different scale exercises. Let's take them one at a time. Let's examine the written music. All right, so we have 1 cycle of teental written here, 16 beats. You can see the beat number at the top of the page. And the plus sign is sum. That's the first beat of the rhythmic cycle. We've got these semicircles with 2 notes above each semicircle. That means we're going at double speed, 2 notes per beat. 4 sets of 4, the vertical bars separating the tals, the 4 sets of 4. 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 is 16. We've got a Kali sign in the middle. That's saying we're halfway through, that we're at the 9th beat. And the ma has a vertical bar above it. That means it's a tivra ma, a sharp 4th. The ni has a line underneath it. That means it's komal ni, right? It's a flat 7th. And then high sa has a dot over it. Any notes below sa are in the low octave and they have dots under them. And that's the basics of how to read the music. Let's go ahead and play the first line. Now, you should not play these, or you could, but for learning them, you want to just take 1 line and play it over and over and over, or even just play 4 beats worth of it and make sure that you can do that. We've got, for each of these lines, got 4 different together. Each 4-beat section could be practiced on its own. So let's just start out with the first one, sa, re, ga, ma, pa, ma, ga, re. Now let's just put it on repeat, ideally with the beat. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my tabla. I've got it set at 88 beats per minute, Madhyalaya, middle speed, teental. 88 beats per minute. Here we go. From the 1. Kali is the halfway point. So I'm going to start on some. Alright, so I was just playing the first 4 beats there and putting it on repeat. Sometimes I was playing them at double speed, sometimes 1 note per beat. Most of them had ornaments, and then at the end I removed the ornaments. However you want to do it, just to ingrain that in your head. Now the second section is the arohi, the ascending scale. Alright, so from beat 5, sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa. Alright, so I'm assuming that you can play the arohi. If you can't, definitely watch the last YouTube video that I made, YouTube Live from yesterday. It was all about the Vachaspati scale, because that's just the ascending scale, the second of the 4 sections. Alright, so let's just put the 2 together and put them on repeat. So we're doing the first half of the first line here. Now, the third section of the first line is essentially the inverse of the first section. The first one was sa, re, ga, ma, pa, ma, ga, re, like that. Now, from high sa, we're going to go, it's kind of shaped like this if you think of it as pitch decreasing. Pitch over time, okay? Sani, da, pa, ma, pa, da, ni, okay? So here's what that sounds like. right, so master that piece. Note what we're doing here. We're not just trying to play the whole line all at once, unless you think you're comfortable in this scale. First, master each of the 4-beat sections by themselves, just by putting them on a loop. And then if you can get the first 4 beats and the second 4 beats, put it together and play it as 8 beats. All right, now the final section, the last 4 beats of the first line, is just the avarohi. You'll notice that for all of these, for all 4 of these exercises, the second part is the arohi, the ascending scale, and the 4th section of each of these is the descending scale. Here's the descending scale. All right, so now let's play the second half of the first line. We're going to take the 8 beats, the second half of the first line, and just put those on repeat. So once you're comfortable doing all of that, playing each of the 4 beats by themselves, and then putting the first half of the line together as 8 beats and putting it on a loop, on repeat, and the second half of the line, 8 beats on repeat. Now try to play the whole thing, which is like this. Thanks everyone out there watching on YouTube Live. I am Bansuri Bliss Founder Dr. Kerry Kriger, playing some Vachaspati scale exercises, important scale exercises for every Bansuri player, everyone who plays Indian classical music, and probably anyone in the world who plays a melodic instrument capable of playing all 12 notes of the chromatic scale. That's most musicians on earth, other than possibly drummers. So if you have a question, send it in. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the second one of these exercises, which is similar to the first. The second one, though, we're going to go down into the low octave. So we're going to start at sa, come down to low ni, komal ni. All right, sa, ni, da, pa, ma, pa, da, ni. So tivra ma, 7th hole on a bamboo flute, 7th hole on the Bansuri. Important hole to have on your flute. Most people don't have it, and I kind of feel sorry for them. If you don't have one, your next flute should be a Bansuri with a properly made 7th hole, so that you can play tivra ma. And it can even help you go down to shid ma, but we're just focused on the tivra ma. All right, so sa, ni, da, pa, ma, pa, da, ni. From some, I'll just do it at 1 note per beat. you going to do if you don't have a 7th hole? You could roll the flute from paw. You roll it inwards and you look upwards, and you can come down half a note to the Tivra Ma. It won't sound quite as good. I wouldn't want to have to do that, but you could. Hear how I can change the pitch by rolling the flute? So you could see what happens. So I'd much rather have that 7th hole there. Another choice, instead of playing Sani. Let me share my screen again. All right, so we're now on number 2. And you see Sani, Da, Pa. We're in the low octave, low dots under these notes. And we come down to that Ma. But if you really didn't want to play that Ma, you could put a Da there. Sani, Da, Pa, Dani, a Da. Okay, I suggest get yourself a Bansuri with the 7th hole. I have a YouTube video. I've got 2 of them actually, all about the 7th hole on the Bansuri. So go watch those. You'll find out why it's so important to have and how to play it. All right, so let's go ahead and play this. I'm going to go ahead and play the first half of the line. We've already done this. The beats 5, 6, 7, 8 are just the Orohi ascending scale. When you practice these, if you know how to ornament, if you know how to tongue, feel free to vary it with your ornamentation and your tonguing. Now, the 3rd section is just like it was in the first exercise. So we've already done the 2nd half of this line. It's just like it was in the first exercise. So I'm just going to go ahead and play the whole thing from some. So I was playing at 2 notes per beat, and then I actually doubled my speed to 4 notes per beat, which meant that I played the exercise twice in one cycle. Then I switched back to 2 notes per beat. You should be able to double your speed and have your speed, double your speed, go both directions. 1 note per beat, 2 notes per beat, 4 notes per beat, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. All right, I was doing 1 note per beat, 2 notes per beat, 3 notes per beat, and then 4 notes per beat. All right, let me see if there's any questions coming in to YouTube Live. Feel free to chat in if you have a question. Do you have a question? Are you understanding this? Too fast, too slow? Let me know. Chat in. Where in the world are you? I'm going to put right there. Where in the world are you? All right. And I'm going to move on to the 3rd one of these right now. Let me just check something. Do a tech check. All right, good. All All right, so I'm going to reshare my screen. I am Bansuri Bliss Founder Dr. Kerry Kriger, teaching the Bansuri. My website is bansuribliss.com. Go check it out, bansuribliss.com. If you want to learn a lot more about Vachaspati, including the composition, tons, how to improvise, as well as about 35 other ragas. I have courses for 35 ragas approximately in Bansuri Bliss Academy, bansuribliss.com/academy. And I'm going to share my screen again. Let's go through these last two of these super important scale exercises. All right, so we're on to the third line now. Okay, it's going to be very similar to what we've already done, except now we're going to go into the high octave. Number 3, so let's take a look at it. The first half is just like the first half of the third exercise is exactly the same as the first half of the first exercise. So you should already know how to do that. Now, you should already also be fairly good at going sa re ga ma pa ma ga re, the third section, which is just like the first section, except it's exactly 1 octave higher. What are you gonna do if you need to breathe in the middle when you're playing that fast? What I just did, just leave out the very last note of one of the sections. Take a breath right in that very small space. It's gotta be fast, and then keep on playing. All right, let's go ahead and look at the fourth one of these. All right, so now this is actually the one that was taught to me by my guru Pandit Vijay Raghav Rao. As one of the first things that he ever taught me. He taught it to me in Kalyan scale, but like I said, these exercises you apply to all 72 of the 7-note scales of the melakartas, the scales that use sa re ga ma pa da ni sa. Here's what it does. We start at sa and we go down to the lowest note that we can hit on our flute in Vachaspati, the tivra ma. So we start at sa and we come down to ma and back up to sa. Then we play our arohi, and then we go all the way up to the high pa and back to the high sa, and then the avarohi, the descending scale, brings us back down to where we began, the sa. hello again, everyone out there in YouTube Live land. Lovestone Tarot coming in from Philly, PA, asks, can you show how to roll the flute if you don't have the 7th hole? Yes, I showed that earlier. I'll show that again. Let me turn off my tabla. All right, I'm teaching Vachaspati scale, which uses a tivra ma. All right, the vast majority of Bansuris out there do not have the 7th hole, nor do they have the 8th hole. I use both those holes. I like them, and I highly suggest that the next flute that you buy should be a 7-hole Bansuri, or 8-hole, but definitely 7-hole. I have 2 videos on YouTube. One's called, I think, the 7th hole on Bansuri, and the other maybe called how to play the 7th hole on Bansuri. So one is about why it exists, and one is about how to reach it, how to play it, when to play it. So in Vachaspati, we want to be able to hit that tivra ma, right? So, and in this scale exercise, we need to hit the tivra ma. So how are you going to do that? If you have a 7th hole, you go like that. Okay, but if you don't, what you want to do then is practice first. Make sure you can play your low paw. Make sure it comes out perfectly clear, clean, nice tone every time. Because if your paw doesn't come out, you're not going to get the tivra ma. So make sure you got a good paw. And then I'd probably start by just blow paw for like a second or two. And once you know you have it, then try rolling. First, experiment with this direction, okay? I'm rolling the flute into me. Look at the hole. Okay? Not all that way, but you'll hear the pitch decrease, okay? But you'll also hear the volume decrease. That's the problem with rolling your flute. The volume is going to decrease. Okay, so first try it that way just so that you can hear the change, and then probably just try looking up. For me, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to look to the left. I'm going to look, I call it up flute, just a little bit. So let's hear what happens. First, I'm just going to roll the flute into me. And now I'm just going to look to the left. I'm not going to roll the flute. I'm just going to look to the left. All right, so from my perspective, most of the change is going to take place from the roll, more so than the look, the turn of the head. Okay, so, but really when I do it, I usually do a little bit of both. Okay, I'm going to roll the flute in and look to the left. Maybe you could even say instead of roll the flute in, you could kind of tilt your head down, which accomplishes the same thing, but a little of it all. Whatever it is, you need to get more of the hole that direction and more of your face that direction. And you have to listen for the pitch. You got to know the pitch of tivra ma. If you want, do it from the middle octave and just go pa ma, so that you can hear the difference between a pa and a tivra ma, and then switch back to the low. That's how I suggest you practice it. You could also start here and just blow a tivra ma. But probably better just start from the paw, because in this exercise especially, we're going pa ma. So we're going to be coming from the paw anyway. Here's how it works with the tivra ma. And eventually, you'll have the ability to play the should ma too. If you have, because what I could do, I could play this tivra ma and then do that roll that I just taught you, and that would get me down to should ma. But for you, you'll probably just get down to the tivra ma. You're going to practice, you're going to say, this is really hard, I can't do it. Maybe you'll say that. That's what most people say. But if you keep practicing it, you'll notice that after a while, you can do it. and then you keep practicing, and then you'll even be able to do it smoothly, so that when you're playing a raga, it'll actually come out when you need it to come out. So that ideally you get to the point where you don't fear the tivra ma or the shud ma or whatever you have to do to get down lower than a paw on your flute. And once you can do that, you'll be very happy, because there's certain ragas where you definitely want to be able to hit a tivra ma or a shud ma. All right, so I hope that answered your question. All right, how to use the 8th hole is the next question, also from Lovestone Tarot from Philly. Hey, everyone out there in YouTube live land, go ahead, chat in. Where in the world are you? I'm in Colombia right now. All right, so how do you do the 8th hole? Now let's see. If I play the 8th hole, well, I mean, I don't really want to leave Vachaspati, and usually when I'd play the 8th hole, I'd cover that, and then on my upper leg, not on my knee, on my upper leg, you see that? It's kind of the angle of it is, it's about, 120 degrees down, and if you're playing like this, look, it's kind of pointed down. You can just tap the top of your leg. You got all that space on the top of your leg. So you have to aim. You don't want to do it when you're standing up, but if you're sitting down, kind of Indian style, cross-legged, you could close that and come down and play it. And that would give you your shud ma. Now, I could also roll, just like I just taught you, roll the flute inwards, put my head down a bit, look to the left, up flute. That can get me down to shud ga. I almost never do that, but I did start experimenting with that recently. In a raga like this, that's how I would use the 8th hole. And of course, doing that and that, getting this down on my upper leg and rolling the flute, it's a lot to do. So, especially because when this is locked to your leg, it's hard to roll the flute inward. But let's go ahead and just see what happens, since you asked. So I'm going to go ahead and try to play the low shud ga, which I've never done, never even attempted on YouTube or probably any other recording. Let's see what happens. All right, that was my attempt, but usually the main use of that 8th hole is going to be for shud ma, but since there's no shud ma in Vachaspati, I'm going to save that. But if we ever do this again for, say, malcones, then I definitely like to play a low shud ma in malcones. So the two ways I do that are either playing the 8th hole, or that I would play that 7th hole and roll, okay? The 8th hole is going to sound better, okay? It'll be more voluminous than rolling your flute, because as I said, when you have to roll your flute inwards and look up, you're kind of dampening your volume. So I prefer to hit it with the 8th hole. It will sound better. It's just, you got to have good aim. You don't want to miss it. All right, let's see if there's any other questions. All right, Desiring Devotion, Morley, hello, namaste. All right, Parit, welcome back. I emailed you today. If anyone wants to email me, contact@bansuribliss.com, and go to bansuribliss.com. Check out the offerings and the music there and the knowledge that's up there. I encourage you to become a Bansuri Bliss member. That is the best thing that I can suggest you do for your musical abilities related to Bansuri and Indian classical music. Become a Bansuri Bliss member, and you will learn a whole lot about Indian classical music and Bansuri and be a much better musician. Let me just go ahead and play, because I've been talking and just messing around with that low octave notes. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. Let me just go ahead. What are we going to do with this? Why would we even play scale exercises? Why spend our time playing scale exercises? Well, your fingers are going to get a lot better. Your sense of pitch is going to get a lot better. Your rhythm's going to get better. Your tone's going to get better, and your ability to make up lines of music, to improvise, is going to improve. So let's go ahead and what are we going to do? Put all that together, and we're going to play Raga. And I'm going to go ahead. We're in teental. I'm going to double the speed. Now it's at 176 beats per minute. Turn on teental, and I'm going to play a composition. It starts on the 12th beat, 5 beats before some. I'm not going to teach it right now. I taught it last week at a Bansuri Bliss Members lesson, and I'll be teaching more of it probably this Sunday to Bansuri Bliss Members. But here it is. I'm just going to play it, improvise on it a bit, and then we'll call it a day or a night, depending on where you are. All right, I am Bansuri Bliss Founder Dr. Kerry Kriger. Thanks for joining in on this YouTube Live. Namaste Femparium and greetings again to Merle, California. If you have any final question, chat it in right now because we're going to close this out very shortly. And so I've been playing Vachaspati. I encourage you to... Let me plug my computer in. All right, we have power. I encourage you to go watch the YouTube Live that I did last night. It's up on YouTube. And I taught intro to Vachaspati, okay? Very in-depth, the scale and some important things that you should be keeping in mind, generally speaking, when you're playing the Bansuri. All right, so that's it there. I'm gonna call that good. I am Bansuri Bliss Founder Dr. Kerry Kriger, coming to you from Colombia right now. And best of luck with your Bansuri playing. Go check out bansuribliss.com. And if you enjoyed this, send me an email, contact@bansuribliss.com, or go ahead and leave a comment in YouTube right now and share the music with other Bansuri players that you know. All right, I'll see you soon. Namaste. Bye.